Welcome to the dynamic learning hub of XLR at Andheri East. A prime spot conveniently located at just a 5-minute walk from LIC Andheri Metro. In our journey of over a decade, we have proudly trained over 2 lakh students. We have also been recognized by Deloitte, Silicon India, and other accreditation bodies. Experience learning like never before in our spacious and comfortable classrooms. With high-definition projectors and state-of-the-art acoustics in place, we ensure effective learning even to the farthest point in the room. The hybrid mode is a game changer as you can enjoy the benefits of a live classroom from the comfort of your home. Even if you happen to miss any classroom session, you can still attend the same session with the same trainer at the same time at your convenience, maintaining consistency in your learning progress. Wanna get started? Join us for a demo or career chat over a cup of coffee at our Andheri branch. XLR. We don't just train, we build careers.
Yes, so the collaboration with XLR was an excellent one. We conducted a Power BI workshop with Advanced Excel over a span of 3 days. The workshop was almost 12 hours long in total. Mr. Karthik, who was an amazing trainer, helped the students understand the concepts deeply. I am sure that the students will be able to apply these concepts in their careers as well as their daily lives.
The trainer, Mr. Karthik, was an excellent person where he explained in very detailed manner on how to give great insights using very complex data sets.
So it was a machine learning workshop. We learned a lot from the course and it was a great experience attending the workshop.
The trainer was very helpful. He had a hands-on approach with his teaching and it was fabulous.
This was a great experience for me. So I would absolutely love it if XLR and its team would come again to our campus and conduct more events like this.
It was a great course and it started from basics and took me to a great extent.
The experience of the workshop was really nice. The feedback from all the students was positive. They understood the concept. The workshop was also practical based with some questions. The experience with XLR was very smooth. They helped us in conducting the workshop smoothly right from the booking of the vendor and deciding the course till the distribution of certificates. In overall, this workshop was a success during our technical fest Atmos, and I thank XLR for being a part of it.
Hi guys, good evening. Am I audible, everyone? Amar sir, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, then I'll start. Okay, guys. So yesterday we were just beginning to create the application, right? So this is where we were. we all can recollect. And who took the time, opportunity to install all the relevant softwares which I had told you all to do yesterday? I hope you all are on track so that you all can do pair programming with me. Who's on track and who's installed Eclipse, Java, MySQL, and Postman? The candidates. Okay. Someone just could give me a thumbs up whether I'm audible clearly and my screen is visible. Both. Yeah, okay, perfect, makes sense. So, okay. Mohammed, you can talk to Amar sir. You can send a message to Amar sir regarding your query as to what struggle you are having to join and log into LMS. Okay, so we had chosen Maven. Actually, we open Spring Initializer, then Maven, Java 3.4.0. The business, the domain name in reverse order is the group name. So com.xlr. What is the name of the project which we want? That is, okay, here you can give over here. Amar sir is there on the chat. So see, you can send a chat text to Amar sir. He was here some time ago. Yeah, Amar sir is there. He's the co-host. So you can get in touch with him. Send him a personal direct message. Okay. He's the host of the meeting, so you will easily identify. So project group, major project CMS. Its name also you can keep same as the artifact name, then give some description. Packaging as jar, Java 17, and just add one dependency. To add the dependency, click on add dependency. Go here, just write over there web. As I've already added web. Okay, this is already added, so remove it. Just bring web and then click on generate. So this will create a structure of your application. Okay, a skeleton, and it will download it for you. See, it shows over here, downloaded over here. So just extract it somewhere. So go to your downloads, just extract it somewhere in a clean folder. Just copy it, go to a clean folder where there is no much. So I'll make a new folder by you guys. Major project. And I'll paste this over here. And right click on that. So I hope my screen is visible to you all. Right click and extract here. See, now once this project get extracted, open the project and some changes you have to do in the form XML. So there's a file called form XML. Right click on that file and open with whichever editor you have. I have Notepad++. So I will use that to open the file. Okay. So first I will change the version to 2.6.0. First thing. And second thing, I will change the Java version to 1.8. Remember this. So just make these two changes. The line number 8 and line number 30. That's all. Save it. And now once you have done saved it, close it. And now what you do is take this folder, one which is extracted, where you have done the changes, copy it and put it in your Eclipse, where we'll open a project from. Okay. Now pasted it over here. Okay. So what have we named it as? Major project CMS. And now to open the project, we should open Eclipse. Open Eclipse, go to File, go to Open Project from File System, browse, go to your Eclipse workspace and search for the project which we just made, Major Project CMS. And then select this folder and it will open up and just finish, and that project will open up in your Eclipse over here. What will show over here? The name of the artifact. So what is the name of the artifact we gave? We gave artifact as Major Project CMS. So when everything, there's a progress bar over toward the bottom right. Once it completes, once this progress bar completes, then search for Major Project CMS, this one. And now it has given us the skeleton of our project. SRC main Java resources, everything it has given us. The skeleton has been done. So just expand this SRC main Java and you will see your main package. Okay. So this is the main package because it has the main method in it. It has a class which has the main method. This is the most important application. So the application will run from the main method. If you don't have the main class, application will not be able to execute. So to make the application run, you should have the main method. It is mandatory. Now, once you have this package, now we'll form our Spring Boot schema. So yesterday I had done with you all, right? So I'll just open up that paint file once again so that we all are comfortable. Okay, so this is what we had done yesterday. I hope you all remember this. Guys, I'll be back in a minute. Yes, guys, I'm back. So yesterday we had designed this, right? Promote the changes is that when you extract that file, open the pom.xml. In that pom.xml, just change the version from 3.4.0 to 2.6.0 at line number 8. And then change the version of your JDK to 1.8 at line number 30. Just make those two changes and then open the project in your Eclipse, like how I did it over here. Now, each Spring Boot application will have how many main components? Controller, service, and repository, right? So make those packages. So this will be the structure of our project. So make a package for each component, for controller, for service, and for repository. Just right click on your new and make a package. So just to the extension of, okay, I hope my screen is being visible. Just as an extension of your main package, okay, I'll show you all again. So the your package which I shown over here inside src main Java, right click on it and say new and add a package. So one package for each. Controller, right click again, new package dot service, and again right click, new package dot repository. And we made these packages, so one package for each layer. Guys, if you have any concern, you can just put it on the chat. Which whoever has any concerns can just text it to me on the chat and I'll reply it over there. If it's any administrative that you're not able to log into the LMS, then you can text a message to Amar sir. He's there on the chat. Just search for his name and you can text him. Okay. Amar sir is there in this chat. In this meeting, he has joined just as a host. Search for the host name and direct message him. See, all I have done till now is just create the basic structure of the project and add the basic packages. That's all I've done. Okay, so for each of the layer, I've added a separate package. One package for controller, one package for service, and one package for repository. Okay, and the data which is flowing between these packages, that is called as entity. So whatever data you want to send between these layers, for that make one more package, and that package is called as your entity package. So this will be our fifth package. One default package was already there, and now we have added these four packages. So whatever classes I will create, I'll create in this entity package. Okay. So yesterday I briefed you about the controller, about request mapping. So let me make in that package, we'll make a class. And we will call this class as this is a customer management. So I'll say customer controller. Okay. And in Spring Boot, we annotate. So this entity will be annotated with @entity, repository will be annotated with @repository, service with @service, and controller also we have to give an annotation over here @rest controller. As you have control space bar, it will help you see rest. And now in this, we can make request mapping. As you hit control space bar, it will prompt you. So we had made which request mapping yesterday? Who remembers? So, okay, then first we have to define on what port our project is running. Our project is running on port number 8088, right? So that we have to configure in the application.properties file. So if you come over here and go to the resources, you'll have a application.properties file. And here you can say on which port you want your application to run. So server.port equals to 8088. Just give that details. Okay. And after 8088, what did we do? We gave a endpoint same RCB. So we need some request mapping if the user hits RCB. So all the mappings are there in the controller. So you go to the controller and you say, if someone tries to do a RCB, then I will call this method, which will return me a string. Okay, and normally the name of the mapping is the name of the method. And it will return me a string. So if someone tries to hit /RCB, he will be returned with a string Virat Kohli. Okay. So let me make one more request mapping. If someone tries to do a CSK, we will return to him. So save and all that. Okay. Seems good. Our project has been set up. So to run the project, always go to the class which contains the main method. Right click on that, run as Java application. So it should start up your application. And once you see this message, started project and on which port it has run and how many seconds it took to start, means your application is running. So keep an eye on these 3 points: the port number, the started, and in how many seconds. Once you see this message, means your application is running. Now to test your endpoints, let's open up the browser. So I'll open up a browser and open up a new tab in the browser. And now who can tell me what URL I need to hit to see Virat Kohli? What do I need to punch? I need to say localhost : then port on which the application is running / which endpoint RCB. So if I try to access this endpoint over here, localhost : port number 8088, and I give a RCB and I hit enter, you will see it responds with a Virat Kohli. See, if I do a /CSK, it responds with a Dhoni. And if I do a /MI, tell me, what do you think it will respond? Let's see who was alert yesterday, last evening, who was observing, will be able to answer. What will happen if I try to do a /MI? Yes, Madhuri. Yes, Pramod. Absolutely. 404. So error is no Rohit. Why will it show Rohit Vedant? I haven't coded anything for MI. I have not made any endpoint in my application for MI. Then why will it show Rohit? I just have 2 endpoints. So is the MI endpoint valid in my application? Not valid. So when you're trying to access an endpoint which is not there, it returns with a page not found and a 404 status code. So now just see this. So when I run, you will see it by yourself. When I hit a MI, see, it says what? Status as 404 and not. Okay. So that endpoint should be there for you all to access it. Okay. So now if I want to give a mapping to MI also, what to do now? So just copy this and make an endpoint. Say MI, and here you can return Rohit. Okay. Now, as we have made the changes after the application was running, so the application has not sensed our changes. So to make the application sense our changes, always do a save, stop the current running application, clear the slate, and then rerun your application. Can I run my application from here? If I do a right click and do run as, will it run? No, it will not run, because to run your application, you always have to go to the main class. You have to always go to the main class and run. Right click on them over here, run as Java application. So now when I run this time around, MI endpoint also has been added. So if I do a refresh now it will give me Rohit. Okay, getting it? So like this, I can return one single string also, and you need to install CD, you need to install all this. I'll send you all I had sent a list yesterday also. You need to install Java 1.8. Okay. You need to install Eclipse. you need to install MySQL and you need to install Postman. These 4 things I had shared a link. So if you want to install my Java 1.8, I have my own link. Let me search for you guys and share it with you all. You can directly download it from there. No need to waste your time searching for Java here and there. Directly you can hit this endpoint and access it. Directly download your Java from here. Eclipse also had shared you the endpoint. Download Eclipse from here. For MySQL had shared you the entire data. I had shared all the entire instruction steps. Install MySQL from here. And for Postman, okay, now I'm spoon feeding this to you all guys. Download Postman from here. So I'm mostly giving all the Windows installation link. If anyone has any other system like a Mac or Linux, they can just search for their flavor of the software. Okay, I've shared all the links. Okay, let's come back to our application. So this is just I am returning simple strings. Okay. Yeah, preferably it would be a good thing to have a laptop, Nikhil, to do pair programming and to do. If you have a desktop, you can do the desktop also. No, on the mobile it will not download. Shirija, it will not download on the mobile. These softwares. We need a PC or a laptop. If I need to return a object, so I will go to the entity class first and create a class. So let's say I want to create a class and I will call the class as customer. And in that customer class, let's say I have all the attributes. So what all attributes do you think a customer should have? Yes, guys. When I draw a ER diagram, so see in your projects, you will have to draw an entity relationship diagram. Okay, you need to back up all your practical with some documentation also, right? So we will be catering to the documentation part also over here as we enrolled for a major minor project discussion. So how do we make a ER diagram? So if I'm making customer as my entity, so what all attributes does the customer have? So customer will have a customer number, customer will have a customer name, customer gender, date of birth, email address, blah, blah, blah. All the attributes the customer will have, right? So we need to prepare the documentation also. So we'll have customer number, customer first name, last name, gender, email, blah, 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 mobile, email. So all these are attributes of a entity called as customer. So in our application, we have to make a database table for each of our entities. So there should be a database table for the customer entity. So in Java, it is very straightforward. all you need to do is just make a class by the name of the entity. And in that class, give all the attributes as the data members of the class. So we will have an integer customer number. We'll have a string first name. We'll have a string last name, and let's say we'll have a string mobile, and we'll have a string email. So all these attributes will store in the class customer. Okay, so we will first make to send all the links on email. How do I send? Amar sir, you there?
Yes, I'm there.
I shared the software installation links to the students. So the students have come back to me saying that, can you send all the links on Gmail so that we can download it faster?
Gmail.
Yeah, because they're not able to copy the links from this chat.
Just sending out the Gmail is not possible for because we need to run the email campaign for that. So I will do one thing. So is it possible if you're already accessing the LMS, I will upload this link over the LMS.
So are you able to copy the LMS links from the chat, sir?
Yes, I am able to copy that.
Okay, then you please copy the links and please put on the LMS.
Yeah, sure. I will do that. Or else I will just create one PDF of all these links and I will share the PDF here. Then students can download and click on that link.
Okay, makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so whichever entity which we have in our application, all you need to do is just make a class for that entity, and all the attributes of that entity will go as a data member of the class. So let me make this class customer now. Okay, so we'll try to design this. I'll just share the data once again with sir also now. Is my Eclipse visible to you all guys? So let's make the class customer. So we will say integer customer number string first name last name subject string email. Okay, what else will we require? We will require the mobile number and public string gen. Yeah, 8.4 is fine, Keshav. Yeah, 8.4 is okay, acceptable. So guys, sir has shared you all the PDF link with all the required software links. Thank you, Amar sir. So
Thank you.
this is the data which we have, which will be storing in our system. So make a simple class, and then we need to add some methods to this class. So it is very simple to add the methods. All you need to do is right click and go to source and then What to add, I will tell you. First, add the generate constructor using fields. Select all and generate. Remove the super keyword if you wish to. This is one. Second is just copy this much and paste it, round bracket and curly bracket. Okay, so this is called as no args constructor. And this is called as all args constructor. So I just write it on top. This is called as no args constructor, and this is called as all args constructor. So write the no args constructor, all args constructor. Come inside. Now come over here, right click, again source, and say generate setter getters. Those select all and generate. If you're using setter getters, then we can make them as private. Shop public, we can make them as private for security reasons. If we are taking setter getters, then private is good thing to me. Good thing to make it private. So make a no args constructor. These are called as getters. We start with a get. This is called as setters. And then make a toString also. So at the end, right click, source, generate toString. So let's make a simple class. So now if I try to hit the RCB endpoint, I want to return an object of the customer class. So I can first have to go and prepare an object of the customer class. Customer C1 is new customer. Like this, you make object in Java. As the customer class is in a different package, you have to import the class. So to import a class, just do Control-Shift-O. Control-Shift and O for orange. So I will just click over here and do a Control, Shift and O. See, the class gets imported. And now fill this object with the values. So I have it setter methods. So I will say set. So set customer number, I will set 18. And C1 dot set email, I will set as virat@gmail.com. C1 dot set first name, C1 dot set gender, C1 dot set last name, and C1 dot set mobile number 9890 12. And once I can return this object. So instead of returning Virat, I will return C1, and C1 is a what type? Customer type. So now I will replace this string with customer. So now when I try to hit the RCB endpoint, it will return me an object of a JSON object of customer. Okay. As I said, we will deal in JSON data. So now these changes were made afterwards. So I have to stop the project and rerun the project again. So go to the main class, right click, run as Java application. Okay, once I'm satisfied the project has run successfully, I'll go to the browser and I will now share my screen and show you all. So if someone now tries to hit MI, will show Rohit. Someone now tries to do a CSK, will show Dhoni. And if someone now tries to do a Virat, he will get a, okay, what was the endpoint? RCB, sorry, what endpoint was RCB. So if it is RCB, you will get a entire object. See, this is called as JSON object. So the entire object has been returned. So this endpoint is returning me an customer. So this is giving me a customer. So I should make it a sensible endpoint. So I should say rather get customer. So I should make this endpoint as what name? Save. Now see what we're doing is after every save, we have to stop and restart the application. If you want to avoid this, then what you can do is you can add a dependency in your application. Okay. So you can add a dependency called as your dev tools. Let me just show it to you all. Okay. So I'll just show you all. So I'll show you what you need to add. Okay. So just add this dependency. So I'll just send dev tools. See here, you see the dev tools. You have to just copy this dependency, dev tools, and paste it in your form XML. This is our project CMS. This is our form XML, and I will just paste it in the dependency and do a save, and the dependency will download. Whenever you add a new dependency, try to always clean the project. So go to project tab and go to clean. Choose your project which you want to clean and do a clean. Go to practice. Whenever you add a dependency, always try to clean the project. Now, if you run the project, now running it once will be sufficient. Now we don't have to run every time. So now I have run the project first time. Now it will, now whatever changes I will make, it will sense the changes. So now I have run, and now if I try to, now this endpoint will be accessed by this object. If I need to get this object, I have to hit which endpoint? I have to hit the get customer. These endpoints are case sensitive. These endpoints are case sensitive. So go to the port number and say get customer, and see I get this object. Okay. So this is how your real-time applications are also made. So you just have to give the endpoint and it will give you the required data. Okay. So if you go to amazon.com, let's say, so all this what you are seeing, this data is returned. So you have to hit a particular API and it will return you a data in JSON format. Then we convert that JSON format and we display this on the UI like this. So these internally are just JSON data, which is fetched and then it is rendered on the screen. See, I'll give you all an example. So we have a fake store API. Okay. So we have a fake store API. Now what this does is it just gives an endpoint like this. So if you try to hit this endpoint of this API, it will just give you the, okay, this is HTTPS. It will just give you the data, see like this. This data we have to take and then convert this data into the user can view this. Okay, so I'll show you all examples. See what I'm trying to show. I will show you all examples. I'm just showing opening of the project. See now, guys, what we have done. See, all this data which is in the JSON format, we have displayed it onto our application like this. So if you see this is this, okay, fold sack number 1 backpack fits 15 laptop. This is my product number 1. If you come see over here, this is my product number 1. This is the description of that product. Your perfect pack for everyday use and walk. Your perfect pack for everyday use and walk. Okay, which category this is? Men's clothing. Okay, so if I come over here and filter out the men's clothing only, it will filter out this product. Okay, so if I filter out other product, jewelry, will filter out only jewelry. So if I filter out men's clothing now, we'll filter out only the men's clothing. If I filter out electronics, we only filter out electronics. So data from the backend is sent as just JSON data. We have to take that data and make it presentable like this on the UI. So the API will just send you raw data. So when I hit this get customer data, it will just send me the data as raw data like this. Then I have to take this data and make it presentable and show on the UI. That is called as the UI part of the application. So right now, Spring Boot, we are making the backend part of the application. Means we are just making the RESTful endpoints. So when user wants to get any data, so if I want to get all the customers, all the products, I will hit /products. If I only want a particular product, let's say I want to see only product number 3. Okay, so I can change the URL and I can say product/3. And it will give me only this product, men's cotton jacket. See, only that product has come, men's cotton jacket. And this is this product. So if you go to all options, this is it, men's cotton jacket. And if you take this image and check on the internet, you will get that image of that jacket. See, that jacket has opened. Okay, so I am getting what I'm trying to show you all. So backend will just return you JSON data. We are need to convert that JSON data and make it presentable. My screen is not shared. I'm sharing my screen over here. So the backend will just return you JSON formatted data. We need to take that data and then make it presentable. Okay. So if you want a single customer, you hit get customer. Okay. Now, if you want many customers data, if you want all the customers data, then we can say, we can make an endpoint and say get all customers. Instead of CSK now, we'll have proper use case. So I can say get all customers. So what will get all customers do? Get all customers can give me list of customers. Okay, so now I will make one customer. Okay, then I will make another customer and I will make 3 customers next. Customer 1, customer 2, and customer 3. Okay, customer number 1 is Virat. Customer number 2 Okay, I'll make Rohit. I'll just make the hard coded data. And question number 3. I will make Rahul. Now these I'll add to a list of customers. I'll make a list of customer, all as customers. New. Control Shift O, import both the classes. And to this customers now, I will say add C1 customers dot add C2 customers dot add C. And I will return this customers. Return these customers. And what is customers? Customer is list of customers. So this will change to list of customers. So now if you try to hit, okay, and as I said, whatever will be the endpoint, we'll give the function name as the same. So now, now as I save, the code will refresh automatically. See over here, you will see the code server is restarting. See, at this time, it restarted, just current time. Now no need to stop and restart the application. Just you save and it will. And now let me try to hit which endpoint? Get all customers, and it will return me all the customers I have in my system. That is Virat, Rohit, and Rahul. So you should just be aware of the endpoint, what data it is selling. Just put a. Okay. Now I try to hit this endpoint. See, it has returned me 3 objects. Now I can take these objects and make it presentable and show to the customer on the web page in a tabular format. Okay, see, that will be our next phase now. So first our phase will be create all the backend endpoints. So if I want to add a customer, delete a customer, update a customer, fetch all the customers. So I'll make one RESTful endpoint for each of them. Okay. And you can test these APIs on Postman also. So you can test on the browser. Okay, but browser has some restrictions, some limitations. You cannot test all the APIs on browser. So to test all the APIs, we have a testing tool called as Postman. So install Postman. I'm sharing my screen. Let my Postman start. I'll share my screen and show you all how we can test these APIs on Postman also. So let me share my screen. This is how Postman looks like. So you can have all your endpoints made over here. Okay. So first let me make a collection for you guys. So let me add a new collection, a blank collection. I will name it Major Project APIs. Okay. Now does Major Project APIs? Go over here and add a request. So you should know which request we are trying to hit. We are trying to hit a request for 8088, and here we can say which request we are trying to hit. So we are trying to hit the 8088. We are trying to hit this info, get customer. So I'll go back to Postman and I'll say I'm trying to hit this endpoint, get customer. Okay, and then you can add this to the request name also, get customer, and you can save it. So here you can say get customer. And now as I do a send, you will see that you can get the response over here. So you can check the response over here directly. If I say I want to check for get all customers, so I'll make one more endpoint over here. Add request for 8088, and I will say get all customers. This I can just save over here. So this is like new request, no? So you can just add something over here, save it. And if I do a send now, it will show me all the customers over here. So when it returns okay, the status code is 200, right? So should I discuss with you all the status code? So this is the HTTP status code. If I try to get any, so if I put an extra S over here, if by mistake I put an extra S over here, this endpoint will not be there. So it will give me a status code of 404. So if I send over here, see status code of 404. This is saying not. So like this, you can test your APIs. This is an API testing tool. So as I had shared with you all yesterday, try to add these keywords on your resume that I have hands-on on testing APIs on a API testing tool, and the tool which I was using was Postman. It is used by lots of developers. So if you will take this keyword in the interview will relate with you, and it will put a good image of you that you have some prior development experience and you have done some enterprise level APIs. So this is used in the industry. All the top industries to test their APIs, they use Postman. Okay, most of the companies use Postman. There are other tools also, but most of the companies they use Postman. So like this, you can keep on adding your API. So these, okay. Now this is hard coded data. So now whenever I will say get customer will give me the same data over and over again. But now if I want to take the value from the user and then create a new customer. Now for that, then what we'll have to do is we have to take that value from the user and then save in the database. So then our database will also come into the picture now. So what I'm trying to achieve now is, let me share my screen. So what I'm trying to share now is, now if I accept the details from the user, from the front end and pass those details. So now instead of just hard coding the value as Virat and all that, I can take the data from the front end. Okay, so I'll just now clear this off. I'll just save this. And now what I'll do is now my postman will act as my front end. My postman now will act as my front end. So let me just remove this much. The JSON data we all know. So let me keep that intact. So now what I will do is on my postman now will behave as my front end. I will ask the user to enter all the details. So whatever details I was entering over here by myself, what is the customer number, what is the customer name, what is the first name, what is the last name, I will ask the customer to give me that data. Okay, so customer will give me the data in a form of a JSON object. The customer will give me all that information in the form of a JSON object like this. It's called as a JSON object. Okay. So now if I want to enter any number, so let's say if I want to enter 33, the customer will give me all this data. Okay. So as I said yesterday, right? The currency of trading will be the JSON. So this is the JSON. And now the customer will pass this data to me and it will try to hit the endpoint. Let's say add customer. So it hits the endpoint, local host. Let me increase the font. Local host colon 5088 and slash it says add customer. So now when it hits this add customer endpoint, it will send me this data. I will receive this data in my controller and then pass this data to the service, and service will pass it to the repository, and repository will save this data into the database in a database table. So now this entire life cycle we have to study. So when your data is coming from the front end to the back end, okay, we can use over there as request body. We'll pass this is called as a request body. So this data will come as a request body and I will store it into my controller into an object and then pass that object to the service. Service will pass it to the repository and repository will store it in the database. Now once database has come into picture, then some configuration needs to be done to add the database. What all configuration we need to do, I will show you. So what changes we need to do is, okay, so go to the form XML and for the database, you need to add these two dependencies, MySQL and the Spring Boot Starter JPM. So copy this and add these dependencies to your project. Where is our project? Major, right? Yeah, project major. So add it to the dependency. Copy these two dependencies and paste it for MySQL and one for JPM. Yes. So add these dependencies, one for MySQL and one for, okay, the version which I am using is 5.1.15. You all can put your version. So if you're using 8.0.33 or 8.0.4, you can use that version over here. I'm using 5.1.15. So I'm using this dependency, save. And as I had told, whenever you add a dependency, always do a project clean. So first you have to clean the project. First thing is this you have to do. And second, now we have to add some configuration. So we have to first go and make a database. Okay. So we have to go and make a database in our application. I am making a database. Okay, so this is my MySQL dashboard. And here I'm going to databases. Okay, and I will make a new database. Okay, so if I go to localhost, it will say local. So I'll just make a by major project DB. This is my database name, major project DB. I copy this and I do a create. So the database has been created and there are now 0 number of tables in the project, in the database. Okay, please remind me of the project database name and I ask for it. So first you have to make the project and then there are some configuration settings which we need to add. So I'll just borrow it from an existing project. It's an existing project, so I can just go to SRC main resources, properties, and these are the project properties which we need to add. You can just copy, so we have a port 8088. So apart from that, whatever is there, I just copied everything and I go and paste over here. And now just do the fine tuning. What is the database name we have, which we have made right now? We have to adjust accordingly. So be very careful when naming it. So copy and then name it correctly. Control V. Username is root, password is blank. This is my driver. Okay, so those are using the latest version of MySQL 8.0.3. For them, the driver name is like this. You have to put a CJ between MySQL and JDBC. You will have to use this driver. Okay, so I'll just copy this driver for you all and write it over here also so that you all don't struggle. I'm not using this. So to comment, you have to put a pound. So I'm commenting this, but you all can use this driver. So in the form XML, you all can say 8.0.3 and over here, you all can say use this driver. I'm commenting this, so I'm not using it. And I do a save. So whenever you play around with database, you have to be sure that you add a database and then you add these configurations and you add the database name. Now what we do over here is when we do database, we want a table to be made in the database. So in Spring Boot, it is very simple. Whichever class you want a table of, just annotate that class with add entity. So whichever class has add entity, Control Shift O, entity from persistence. And it is mandatory that that class should have an ID, that is the primary key. So annotate the primary key with the add ID. And you can auto generate the value for primary key So you can use generated value, and you can use a strategy as generation type as identity. So this will auto increment the customer number. You just have to enter the name, last name, email, mobile number, and gender. Customer number will auto increment. Now, as I do a save, the application will reboot. Okay, and if everything goes well as per plan, a database table has been made by the class name with all these columns. So let's go to the database and check whether are we successful in making the database. So if I just do a refresh on this, you will see that a database table has been created. So let's check major project DB, right? So let's search for our database over here. LMN here. It still does not have any table. Okay, so let's try to do a stop, clear, and let's try to run it from the main. Maybe then it can pick up the changes. Let's check this. Okay, here project has started, and let's check. Now refresh this, and one table should reflect over here. See, one table is reflecting, and the table name is customer, and all the attributes which I mentioned will now become the columns. So C number, email, first name, gender, last name, mobile number have all become the column names, and the class name has become the name of the table. Now we will try to insert records into this table. So let's go to the customer controller. And now when I say add customer, so I'll have a request mapping for add customer. Okay. So now I have a request mapping for add customer. So I'll just copy this. I'll keep on adding them at the end of. Okay, so this all you all know, right? So just comment it out or delete it when you tested that. But okay, let's keep it. So if you want to practice, you can practice. Now I can make an endpoint, add customer. Whatever is the endpoint will be the name of the. Okay. So now this customer record will be sent to me by the front end. Entire object will come to me from the front end, and in this case my postman will be act as my front end. Okay, in this example my postman will act as my front end, so I don't have to take any data over here. So all this will come to me from the front end. I'll just say that will come as a request body. I'll just say over here add request body, and it will come in my customer object like this. That's all. Now I've got the customer object C1, and I will just return a string saying customer in record inserted. Customer record inserted. Now I'm at just the controller level, and the controller has, let's say controller has got this JSON object. This JSON object has now come to the controller, and controller has received it. The controller will pass this to the service, and service will pass it to the repository, and repository will pass it to the database. Okay, so controller need to communicate with the service. So let's create the service also now. So let's make a service. Right click, new, class. So for each entity, you need to have a pair of controller, service, and repository. So as I have customer entity, so I need a customer controller, customer service, customer repository. If I have an employee entity, then I will have a employee controller, employee service, employee repository. So for each entity which you create a separate controller, repository, and service. So I have one entity customer, I have a customer controller. Now I'm making a customer service. My screen is visible to you all, right? Customer service. Okay, annotated with add service. Control space bar, service from stereotype. And then service. And also we also need a repository is an interface. So make an interface and make a customer repository. And annotated with add repository. This customer repository will extend inbuilt repository called as JPA repository. JPA repository. Now this T stands for which entity am I making this repository for? I'm making this for entity customer. So remove this T and put customer over there. And the ID stands for what is the type of the primary key. Primary key is of type integer. So we need to give the class for that, integer class. So type over here integer. As this customer is in a different package, imported control shift. So like this, you need to make the service and the repository interface. Okay. Now the customer service annotated with add service, the customer repository annotated with add repository. Now the controller will interact with the service. So here we need an object of the service over here in the controller. So customer service. So I'll call it as customer service. And in Spring Boot, it's very simple to make object. Just write auto wired. That's all. So I go to service. Service will interact with the repository. So here we need an object of the customer repository. We'll just say customer repo. And I will say add auto line. Okay. So now let's try to. So the data has come to the. If I want to add a customer, the JSON object has now come to the CI. The customer this controller will pass this to the method of the customer service. So I take a customer service object and call a method with the same name, add customer, and pass this object as an argument. Now this method is not there in the customer service. Hover on it and create it. And now the customer service will pass it to the repository. There is customer repository, and the function to save into database is called as save, and we will save this C1. So like this, what will happen is when I will call this endpoint from Postman, I will pass a request body of the object which I need to save like this. I will pass this request body. This request body will come in this customer object C1. The controller will pass it to the customer service method, and the customer service method will pass it to the customer repository save method, and the object will be saved in the database. So let's try to test this. So I'll go to Postman, take any object format, and now add a new endpoint. So add request, which is this request. This is add customer. Okay. And now in the body, okay, over here in the body, I have to pass a raw data of type JSON like this. So now I can choose as to which record I want to file. Okay. So as of now, our database is empty. So we can enter. Okay, the customer number is auto generated. So only need to pass the customer number because I have given it as identity to auto generate the customer number for me. And now my first customer will have these records. So from the Postman, I will try to hit the add customer, not customers. Okay. So be very vigilant and careful when you see what is the endpoint name. Add with a small a, customer with a capital C. So I try to hit the add customer and I pass this object. It will now, if you see the database is empty, okay. Database has no record. If I click on this customer, it just shows the structure of the table, means there are no records in it at the moment. Okay. So it says 0 rows. So let's try to hit this endpoint and check whether it inserts a record or not. I do a send and it returns me a response, customer record inserted. This is what I had returned. So this is what I had returned when you try to add on the controller. When you add a customer, this is what I returned, customer record inserted. Now let's go to the database and check whether the customer record has been inserted. I click on this customer. The ID auto increments and all the record has come over here. If I want to insert one more record, now it's very simple. Go to Postman, make the changes over here. Make the changes in the object which you want to insert. And now just do a send. It processes the request. It says the record inserted. So cross check, go to the database and just click on the table and you will see the second record also has been inserted and the customer number is getting auto generated. So I just have to enter the other data, the customer number. I don't have to worry about it. So insert one more record. Okay, give any name. And I do a send, see record inserted. And now, okay. So like this, you can make an endpoint. Okay. So now in this, as we are adding a resource to the table. So whenever you add a resource, we use the post mapping. Okay. So these are called as HTTP methods. So you use post control shift O and you use post mapping. Okay. So whenever you are inserting any record, we use post mapping. And now here I have to make the changes in the postman. It is a post method now. So make the changes and save it. And now if you want to add any other record, okay, just you need to send the data from here. And do a send. See, it says customer record inserted. And if you want to verify, all these records are being saved in the database. Okay. And if I want to get all these records then now, so here I was preparing my own hard-coded employee list. Here, get all customers. So now I don't have to do this hard-coded data. I'll fetch this data from the database. So I'll just remove all this. So now this data will come from the database, right? So I'll just make a list of customers, and then to get the data, the controller will contact the service that I want the data. So we will just tell the which object I have of the service. I have this object, customer service. So I will interact with the customer service and tell the customer service I want all the customers. Now this method is not there, so we'll create it. And the customer service will contact the repository that I want all the customers. So the customer repository will say dot find all. That's all. It will return. So now I am not doing any hard coding. I removed all that hard coding from here now. And just simple, I'm writing the list of customers. I do a save, it refreshes. And now if I go and fetch, get all customers. Okay, this was all hard coded data I was entering previously. Now if I do a send over here, it will fetch me the data from the database. This is my data in the database. If I want to fetch a particular single customer, if I want to fetch a particular single customer, like we were doing over here, I give an example. So this is fetching me all the products. If I hit this, it fetches me all the products. So this looks like a list. See, so if you observe, it starts with a list and the list of products. Similarly, when we did over here, this is a list. See, it starts with a list, and this is a product, single customer. So this is list of all the customers. But if I want a particular, so if I want a particular customer number 1, okay, so then I can say get customer. So now I'll not hard code this. Okay, so I'll just have a customer. So I will pass the ID of the customer, the part over here. So what is path variable? So pass the ID of the customer over here, and then here you can say what is the path? Is called as path variable. Okay, what is the path variable name? ID, and you can take it into an integer, C number, and then you can tell the customer service that please get me a customer with this C number. And it will give you a customer and you return the customer. This function is not there. Create it. So now the service will contact the repository. So service will ask the repository dot find by ID. Which ID? C number, and then do a get. Do a find by ID and then do a get. That's all. So it will get the customer which it is asking for. So the front end will query the controller that I want a customer with a particular ID. This request will be sent to the service that please get the customer with this customer number, and the service will ask the repository that please find me a customer by this find by ID and get me that customer, and I will return it. So if all good, let's save it. And now let's try to get the get customer endpoint. Now let's try to get the get customer endpoint. Now it will accept a roll number as parameter. So if I do a 1, if I do a 1 and do a send, it will give me the record of the customer number 1, Virat. If I do a 2 and do a send, it will give me the record of customer number 2, which is Rohit. And if I try to do a 3 and if I do a send, it will give me Shubman. If I do a 4 and do a send, so I can fetch individual customers also. If I do a 5 and do a send, it is not there. So in the database it shows a 500. So this endpoint is legitimate. This endpoint is legal, but this data which I am doing is not there. So this is some programming logic failure. So it will throw 500. That is internal server error. There is some error in your programming logic. So you have to rectify that. So if I get 4 and do a send, it is working. So I am able to add a customer. I want to get all the customers. Okay. I am able to get a single customer. All these operations I am able to perform on this code. Okay, so now this code is moving more real time. Now we are progressing to our real time and real world project application. So this is how you make your APIs. Are you understanding it, guys? If you have any questions, concern, you can put it on the chat. Let's take a 5 minutes break. Yes, those who have joined through YouTube, if you'll have any concerns, any issues, anything you'll want to highlight or share, you can also bring it up on the chat. Frequently, I'll be browsing the chats and replying. The video Pramod will be uploaded on the portal. So it will take around 5 to 6 hours minimum for the video to be buffering on the portal. If you have the LMS access, then you can see the video over there. Okay, whatever I have done, I'll just upload it on the GitHub for you guys so that you'll get the project repository. Okay, so just wait some time. I'll upload today's work on the GitHub and make a repository for your batch also. Yes, I'm preparing the GitHub repository and I'll share the link with you all. So those who want to practice will get the entire code which I've written word to word over there. Yeah. You can just refer to that repository link. Okay, so this is the repository I have made, guys. So whatever coding I'm doing, all that code is being stored in this repository. I've shared the link with everyone. I can open it on GitHub and it will look something like this. Let me share my screen and show it to you all. So whatever code I'm doing, so this is the repository name. You need to go to SRC and go to main and go to this project, major project CMS. And these are the coding which we have done. So if you could click on the controller, you will get the entire controller code over here, word by word, line by line, everything, whatever I have done till now. So this should serve as a good reference point for y'all. If you all are practicing and you all get stuck, you all can just look up over here. These files can be downloaded also, and you can copy and paste it in your program. So all the code is over here. So this was for the controller. Then if you want to see the entity, and this is the entity, how I made my entity. Okay. Lines. This is my repository. Repository is just simple one line code as of now. If needed, we'll add some other code in it. And this is a service. Okay. And whatever configurations we have done. So let's go back and SRC and your main, and you go to resources. Okay. Go to resources, and this is the application.properties file which we have. So this is configuration which we have done. This thing will be, once you all make a project on Spring Initializer, this will be automatically added first line. From here onward, we need to add. So this should be the name of your database. And while installing MySQL, the default user will be root, and whatever password you have given while installing MySQL, you have to give that password over here. So if you have given admin @123, you have to give that case sensitive password over here. Okay, and you all are using version 8 and above, or version 8 of MySQL, add this as your driver, not this one. That's all in over here in this properties. And then the main file which we have is the form XML. Okay, so once you all download the project from Spring Initializer, make these changes. At line number 8, change the version to 2.6.0, and at line number 30, change the version to Java. So all that code I have pushed over here. You all can look and practice over here. Okay. So let's come back to the coding and let's see what we can do extra over here. So I told you get customer, get all customers, and add a customer. Similarly, if you want, we can also delete a customer. Okay, so if you want, you can delete a customer. So just copy this post mapping, and for delete, we have delete mapping. Okay, these are all your HTTP methods. Do a Control-Shift-O for delete mapping. So these are all your HTTP methods. Delete mapping, post mapping. So if you want to delete a record, use delete mapping. So I will say delete customer. And to delete that customer, we will pass his customer number as a parameter. So we passed it over here, right? Over here. So we can use this same. So pass the ID, and ID will go as a path variable. So copy this path variable code, and that ID will come into CNO, and I will just write this function for my delete from my customer service, and say delete the customer whose ID is CNO. It will delete the object. I will say the customer record delete. Now this method is not there. I will create this method, and this will contact the repository. And this is a void function, so will not return anything. And I will just say customer repository dot delete by ID, and which ID? CNO, and it will delete that custom. Once it deletes it, it returns it back to the controller, and controller will tell to the UI customer record deleted. Okay, so let's do a save. Let's do a save, and let's try to hit this and check whether it is working fine. So go to Postman, okay, and make a new request. So make a new request now. Add request, which is that request 8088, and delete customer, right? And you have to pass the customer ID. So I will just give this as delete customer. I will save it, and this is which mapping? This is a delete mapping, so I will say delete and save again. When it shows over here delete, and now if I try to hit this endpoint as 4, okay, so before hitting this endpoint, if I say get all customers and do a send, it will give me all the customers I have. I have customer number 1, customer number 2, customer number 3, and customer number 4. Now I try to delete customer number 4. Then it says customer record deleted. And to cross check, if I do a get all customers and do a send, now it will not give me 4. It will only give me 1, 2, and 3. So this is sufficient evidence that the record has been deleted. So it is only showing me customer number 1, 2, and this has ended over here. And to cross check, you can also go to the database and verify it over there also if you wish to. Just click on the table again, and record number 4 should be deleted. And we only have 3 records. So like this, you can also fire the delete request also. Okay, so these are all your HTTP methods. We call them as HTTP methods. So what are the various HTTP methods? Sir had shared Bindusi sir had shared the link on the chat. As I'm not able to copy the link, I have to paste it. But sir had pasted the link. Let me send it to everyone again. This is the sir is sending it to your attendance link. So the famous HTTP methods which we have are so I have given you all a practical understanding of few. Let me name them. Okay, so these are very important things to understand. Okay, the HTTP status code we had done last time, and today we are doing HTTP methods. Status code we all know 200 is for OK, 404 is for endpoint not found. Okay, and 500 is for some logical error by programmer. 401 is unauthenticated, not authenticated to use the service. 403 is unauthorized, you're not authorized to use the service. Unauthenticated, unauthorized. And there are many more status codes, as and when we progress, I'll show you all. And then we have the HTTP methods. So post. So if you want to do an insert, or if you want to do an addition, then we go with the post HTTP method. Okay? If you want to just read, just fetch the data. Just read the data. Go with the get. And if you want to delete the record, you go with delete. And if you want to update a record, we go with put. So, and if you are not sure as to what you need to do, then you can go with request. So request is all in one. Request will handle all. So request HTTP method. So initially, I was just showing you all request mapping. But now as we are doing specific tasks, I have switched to the appropriate HTTP method. So while creating a resource, while I'm doing an insertion, so I'm doing an add, when I'm doing an add customer, I'll go with post mapping. When I'll fetch records of a particular customer, I'm doing a get, I can go with get mapping. I can go with get mapping. Here also, we are fetching a record of a customer, we can go with get map. And get is the default mapping. So the default HTTP method is the get. So when you are fetching, go with get. Okay. And when you are adding, you go with add. When you are deleting, you go with delete. And when you want to update, you go with put. Okay, so let me add the documentation over here. Get HTTP method used to fetch the data. Here also data of single customer. So here what will I say? So add these documentation endpoints. Data of all customers. Okay. And here I will say post HTTP method used to add customer. From here we will see delete HTTP method used to delete customer. Okay, so I've saved all this and I'll just push the latest code also on the GitHub so that you all have the code ready and you all can practice at home. Okay guys, I have pushed the latest code, and tomorrow when we will meet, we'll try to take the coding forward from here and try to add the update functionality, and we'll discuss how we can now make a UI and reflect all this information on the UI part. Okay, then, nice interacting with you all. I'll see you all tomorrow. Take care. Bye, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Bye. Lavanya, attendance is working fine. So there's a problem with your system. You can check that, copy, and you can check with another system. So dear participants, I shared the attendance link over the Zoom and YouTube as well. So please mark your attendance. If you have any query or question, you can drop in the chat box. Okay, chalo then. Thank you so much, dear students, and we'll see you tomorrow at same time. Bye bye.